a Creole or Spanish translator? Okay, we have two. And our interpreters will be here in, does anyone know? Okay, we have two people here who raised their hands that they were going to need Spanish interpreter. Sure. And do you have the swearing in language? Okay.
You are okay, correct?
I believe so. Yeah. All right. And we're going to hear the ticket appeals first, correct? Okay. Good morning again. This is a code enforcement ticket appeal hearing for the city of North Miami. Today is, what's today? October 16th, 2019, and I am Beatrice Kezo, Special Magistrate for the city of North Miami. The purpose of this hearing is to determine if a code violation exists at your property, as observed and cited by a code enforcement officer of the city. If the city is not able to prove its case, then I will dismiss the case and you may leave. These proceedings are being recorded. Therefore, all persons who are speaking should do so one at a time to ensure that all testimony is clearly audible on the recording device. If English is not your primary language, then please inform me when I call your case. We have a we will have a translator to assist you during the proceedings. When your case is called, the property owner, agent for the property owner, and any witness that you may have should come forward to the podium on the left side of the room. When asked, please speak directly into the microphone and say aloud your name, your business or mailing address, and your relationship to the property. If you are not the property owner or an attorney representing the property owner, then you must present a notarized power of attorney affidavit in order for your testimony to be taken on behalf of the property owner. The city will present its case first, and then the property owner and or violator will be given an opportunity to testify on their own behalf, to bring forward witnesses to testify, to present evidence and photographs, and to cross-examine the city's witnesses. Following the case presentation, I will issue a finding of fact on the case. If I find that a violation of city codes exists or existed at your property, then I will affirm the ticket and impose a fine and court costs. If I find sufficient cause to postpone enforcement action at this time, I will table this case proceeding to another hearing date in the future. If you do not agree with my finding of fact and or ruling, then the property owner may appeal the administrative order on the case to the circuit court. An appeal must be filed within 30 days of the date of the execution of the administrative order to be appealed. In accordance with Florida statutes, if a person decides to appeal any decision made by the special magistrate with respect to any matter considered at these proceedings, then the person will need a verbatim record of the proceeding. This record includes the testimony and evidence upon which the appeal is to be based. The cost of obtaining the verbatim record of shall be the sole responsibility of the appellant, and it is recommended that persons who plan to appeal their case should provide their own court reporter at this proceedings. Pursuant to city codes, if the city of North Miami prevails in prosecuting a case before the special magistrate, the city shall be entitled to recover all costs incurred in prosecuting the case. The current cost assessment amount is $100 per case. Once the city records an order that imposes a fine and authorizes a lien against the property, then the city will charge additional administrative fees to record and release the lien. If you're present and will be given testimony on a case, please rise and raise your right hand so the officer could administer the oath. Please rise and raise your right hand.
Anyone giving testimony today, please rise, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in the proceedings will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say aloud, I do. I do.
Please remain standing for the oath. Did I say the oath? For the pledge? Yes.
What's the pledge?
Back here.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please announce for the record if there are any additions, corrections, or deletions to the hearing agenda.
We have one case that was complied. Albert J. Roseman in Beverly. Case number CEPOD 2019-00007.
All right, you may call your first case.
The first case is Alejandro J. Lujan and Jose Trujillo, CTBPR 2019-00088.
Is anyone present? Alejandro? Okay.
Would you like me to proceed, Judge?
Yes, please.
The city would like to call Officer Jose Perez. One moment.
He's a translator.
Sir, can you please state your name for the record?
Code Enforcement Officer, Code Enforcement Officer Jose Perez.
And Mr. Perez, how long have you been a code enforcement officer for?
Approaching 2 years now.
Now, did you give a violation on June 27, 2019 to the property located at 13305 North Miami Avenue?
Yes.
And what was that violation for?
Work without a permit.
Can we please, Dunia? Do you recognize this?
Yes.
How do you recognize this?
That is the citation that I wrote, and I recognize because it has my name along with my signature.
And what was the work that was done without a permit?
A fence was installed in the rear without a permit.
The city would like to introduce the civil violation ticket into evidence.
Admitted.
Mr. Press, can you please tell the court how you came about this violation?
Well, on or about 6/27/2019, I was doing a zone inspection of my area, and I came across a property that was working without a permit. They were remodeling the interior of the property. They were working on the roof, along with contractor vehicles that were parked outside. Once I approached the property, I observed the violations and I cited the property for the work.
Do you recognize this photo?
Yes,
How do you recognize it?
I took that photograph and it's time-stamped along with my credentials.
Is it in the same or substantially the same viewing of what you witnessed on June 27, 2019?
Yes.
The city would like to introduce photos into evidence.
Okay.
The city has no further questions for this witness.
Actually, I need to know what is the notice for today's hearing?
The notice, 1 second. Yeah. Can we place that on the screen, please? Mr. Perez, do you recognize this?
Yes.
How do you recognize this?
This is the photograph I took when I posted the property on September 24th, 2019 at approximately 3:06 p.m.
Thank you.
And when you said you posted, you mean for today's hearing?
Correct. That is the posting of the notice to appear.
Okay. All right, based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer and the evidence presented, I find there's good notice, given proper notice, the owners have failed to appear, hereby find in favor of the city. The ticket is
$500.
$500? Okay, I will affirm it.
Next case is Gabriel Fuentes Bravo, CTBPR 2019-00128. City would like to call Code Enforcement Officer Shauna Sanders.
The one, what is it? Gabriel Fuentes Bravo?
Gabriel Fuentes Bravo.
No? Okay.
Okay. Good morning, Ms. Sanders. Can you please state your name for the record?
Shanna Sanders,
And what is your position at the City of North Miami?
Code Enforcement Officer,
And how long have you been a Code Enforcement Officer for?
2006.
Now, did you give a violation to the property address at 13515 Northeast 24th Court in North Miami, Florida on September 19, 2019?
Yes, I did.
And what was it for?
It was for building without permit for installing a sidewalk.
Now, do you recognize this photo?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize it?
It's my signature, my handwriting, date, everything by me.
Is it in the same or substantially the same condition as when you wrote it?
It appears to be.
The city would like to introduce the civil violation ticket into evidence.
Noted.
Ms. Sanders, how did you come across this property?
It was called in anonymously through a complaint
And what was the complaint?
that they had removed some trees and installed the sidewalk on the side of the property.
And did you go there and witness this yourself?
I did witness the sidewalk while out taking pictures. The property owner came out and spoke to me, and we had a conversation. But yes, I did observe it after it was already installed.
Now, do you recognize, I'm showing you 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you recognize these photographs?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize them?
It's what I observed when I was out there on September 19th. I see that it's date, time-stamped by me.
Are they in the same or substantially the same condition as they were when you took the photographs?
Yes, they appear to be.
The city would like to introduce the photographs into evidence.
Okay.
Ms. Sanders, can you please show the court is this the sidewalk that was constructed?
It appears to be, yes.
And what was the conversation that you had with the homeowner?
He mostly stated that he did not know he needed a permit for installing a sidewalk. At that time, I explained to him I would give him a couple of days so that he can come and submit the application. It was, I believe, a Saturday that I went out there. I gave him until that Wednesday. When I came back to work on Wednesday, still no permit had been or application had been submitted to the city, so I went ahead and proceeded to issue the ticket.
Now, did you provide proper notice to this property?
Yes, I did. I posted the property with the notice to appear.
Now, is this the notice to appear that you provided to the property?
Yes, it is.
Is it for today's hearing date at 9 a.m., 10/16/2019?
Yes, it is.
The city has no further questions.
Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer and the evidence presented, I find that the violation did exist. I also find good notice. Given proper notice, the owners have failed to appear. Hereby find in favor of the city. The ticket for
$500.
is affirmed.
The next case is G&J Ventures, Inc., CTMIS 2019-00023. Code Enforcement Officer John Dorville.
What is it?
G&J Ventures, Inc.
Is anyone here for G&J
Dollar?
Ventures?
Any here on behalf of Family Dollar?
Family Dollar? No.
Good morning. Can you please state your name for the record?
Good morning, John Dorval, City North Miami Code Compliance Office.
And how long have you been a code enforcement officer?
Roughly 2 years.
And Mr. Dorville, did you give a violation on August 8, 2019 to the property at 8880 Northwest 15th Street? I'm sorry, that's the mailing address. To Family Dollar at 14200 Northeast 6th Avenue in North Miami, Florida?
I submitted a ticket for the property owner of the bit for the business.
Which one are we looking at? I have 14610 Northeast 6th Avenue.
Yes.
Oh, I'm looking at the ticket. Location of violation 14200.
That's the location. If you look further up on the ticket, it should have the address of the property owner.
Oh, that's the address of the property owner. That's 8880 Northwest 15th Street.
Yes.
But the violation is for the property at 14200 Northeast 6th Avenue.
14610.
Is this? Do
Okay,
you see
that's
this?
very confusing.
Do you see
the-
this ticket?
I do.
This is the violation from August 8, 2019.
Okay, I'm looking at the ticket. The address on the ticket is 14200 Northeast 6th Avenue. Got
Correct.
it.
That's what I
Okay.
have. Yes.
Okay.
No.
Do you recognize this civil violation ticket?
I do.
How do you recognize it?
It is my handwriting. It's the ticket that I issued.
And what did you issue this ticket for?
For the city ordinance of shopping carts in the public right of way.
Now, is this in the same or substantially the same condition as when you wrote the violation on 8/8/19?
That's correct.
The city would like to introduce the civil violation ticket for this case into evidence.
Yes.
Mr. Dorville, can you please explain to the court how you came about this violation?
Obviously, on my routine, as part of my job, I drive through the avenues and streets of the city of North Miami. I came upon a Family Dollar cart in the public right-of-way, which is the swale, and saw a Family Dollar cart with a piece of plywood in it on the side.
Now, do you recognize this photograph?
I do.
How do you recognize this photograph?
It's a photo that I took, and it has my stamp on it with the date and time and my name.
Is it in the same or substantially the same condition as when you took the photograph?
That photo is the same, yes.
The city would like to introduce the photograph into evidence.
Yes, but I'm still having a little issue here.
What's the issue, Judge?
I'm seeing two different addresses for G&J Ventures. So I want to make sure that we have given proper notice.
On the ticket?
The notice to appear Property owner G&J Ventures, Inc., address 14610 Northeast 6th Avenue. That's what's written on the notice to appear. And on the actual ticket, where is it?
The notice
The
was
actual ticket has 14200 Northeast 6th Avenue. So I want to make sure that notice for,
Judge, if Your Honor, if I can direct Your Honor to the appeal notice,
okay,
and I'll bring it up. They received notice. You see here from J&G Ventures, Inc., their address of 8880 Northwest 15th Street in Doral, Florida. They put in the civil violation ticket number, the folio number, and the 14610
tell me
Northeast
which
6th
one we're
Avenue.
looking at. Let me pull it.
It's
up.
on the screen. It's under the appeal notice.
Appeal notice.
So
okay,
they
okay.
received notice for this hearing. They requested it. On their letterhead, they have both addresses, which we have as well, which is the Doral address and the North Miami address.
Okay. Oh, they also put the 14610. Okay. So do they probably cover two areas, 142 through 146?
The 142 is the area where the cart was found.
I see.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay, that explains it.
I'll go
I
back.
just wanted to make sure that we have proper notice. Okay, go ahead.
Going back to the photograph now, how do you know that this was a Family Dollar cart?
It's embossed with the Family Dollar. You can't see it in the photo, but obviously it's the Family Dollar cart. And if you scroll in a little further, you can see it's kind of scratched off, but it says Family Dollar.
And you personally witnessed this.
It's visible with the human eye, correct?
And because you found it outside, that's why you gave them a violation for their shopping cart being in the public right
I
away.
found it, I mean, obviously that location that I cited was 14610. I found this cart at 14200 Northeast 6.
Okay.
So 4 blocks away roughly.
I have no further questions for this witness.
You found the cart 4 blocks away from the business?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So the city ordinance, there's a city ordinance, I believe I cited it, it's chapter, I think it's 11-142,
11-142. I can pass it up,
142D.
Judge.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the city has issues with carts, finding various business shopping carts in the public right-of-way, whether it's the street or the swale. I believe the city has been in contact with many of the businesses in the area and referenced it. I know personally that I've gone to most of the businesses in my area that have shopping carts, and I've provided them a copy of the ordinance. So as kind of a standard practice or the practice of the code compliance, if we find a shopping cart for a specific business, then we cite them based on their cart being outside the purview of their business. There's several Family Dollars in North Miami. However, this one was simply 4 blocks away, but on the same strip. If I was in another area further, like there's a Family Dollar on 135, I think it's 280 Northeast 135th Street. If there was an issue, if I found a cart closer to that location, I would have cited that location. So it's not a specific location, it's just based on where we find the cart and what business that has been noticed about the ordinance, what business is closer to that area, and that's why I cited that particular Family Dollar.
Okay.
Being it's on the same avenue, and just roughly simply 4 blocks away.
All right, thank you for that.
Yes.
Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer and the evidence presented, I find that the violation did exist. I also find good notice, given proper notice, the owners have failed to appear, hereby find in favor of the city. And the ticket in,
I believe it's for $250.
$250.
$250 is affirmed.
Thank you.
The next case is Gerald M. Uribe, case number CTTRA 2019-000009. Good morning. The officer is Shanna Sanders.
Good morning, sir. Please state your full name and relationship to the property.
My name is Gerald Michael Uribe, and I am the owner.
All right, thank you.
Good morning. Can you please state your name for the record?
Shanna Sanders,
Ms. Sanders, and what is your position?
Code Enforcement Officer.
And did you come across the property at 12490 Croton Road in North Miami, Florida, 33181 on September 13, 2019?
I believe so.
Do you can we please place a ticket on the screen? Do you recognize this ticket?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize it?
It's my handwriting, my signature.
Is it in the same or substantially the same condition as when you wrote it?
Yes, it is.
Now, what did you give a violation to this property for?
For tree abuse.
The city would like to introduce the ticket into evidence at this time.
Okay.
Ms. Sanders, can you please explain to the court how you came about this property and the violation?
This case was actually given to me by Code Manager Crystal Cardo right before the hurricane. I was asked to go out and do an inspection, sent photos. Upon returning back from, I guess we were released from hurricane duty. We went home, had to secure our own properties, came back to work, noticed a tree. But again, it was brought to me by our code manager.
Now, I'm going to be showing you a couple of photos. Do you recognize these photos?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize these photos?
My signature, time, date stamped on the date that I was out there, days before.
Are they in the same or substantially the same condition as when you took these photos?
It looks to be.
It looks to be, or it is?
It is, yes, it looks like it.
Thank you. Now, what are these photographs depicting? If you
It
can tell the
shows,
court.
of course, the front of the house door. First one showing the notice that was posted, the ticket that was posted at the property. Second one, the front of the house, and then the other ones look to be the tree that was cut.
Now, is this a tree that was in front of the house that you cited the property owner for?
Yes, it was.
At this time, the city would like to introduce the photographs into evidence.
Okay.
Now, did you have an opportunity to speak to anyone on the property?
No, I didn't. I knocked several times, went and visited the property on a couple of occasions, actually 3, and not once did I have any contact with the property owner.
Now, do you know if this is one of the trees that is protected?
Yes, it is. It is a protected tree.
And how do you know that?
I took photos of the property and sent the address to a company that we, outsource, who does a tree arborist, who does our tree inspections. She went out and inspected the property as well as, through the photos that I sent her. She sent me a memo telling me that it was a protected tree and what steps needed to be taken after, of course, her doing her inspection.
And Judge, I'm looking under triage memo, if Your Honor has it, and it's also on the screen for the memo that Ms. Sanders is referencing.
Mr. Uribe,
Yes.
are you able to see the screen?
Oh, yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
And usually with that, it's the photo is showing, and as well as the ticket, I also, sent this notice out. I inspected the tree, but because I didn't know if it was a protected tree or not, I, contacted triage and attached this to the notice, the ticket notice as well.
We're gonna hold the officer in contempt. We're holding the officer in contempt. All right, you may proceed.
I have no further questions for this witness at this time.
Okay, so
Okay. Yes, sir.
first of all, thank you for letting me speak here in the hearing.
Mhm.
In regards to communication towards Ms. Sanders, I have been to the Office of Code Enforcement before requesting an appointment with her because I have called her several times, left messages to her office, and there has been no reply whatsoever. So, Ms. Sanders, if you miss me at home, I work like everybody else does. And if you left a notice, I went with the notice to the Code Enforcement's office to request for an appointment with you, and they told me to call you back to your office number. That's one thing. I have not received a call from her at all, from the several times I tried to approach to her. Second, the state of Florida have regulations about C-grade trimming, guidelines stated by them that overpowers the city local laws. And in no reason we have broken any of these laws. If the city of North Miami has any regulations, they have never been given to any of the property owners to take care of any specific tree whatsoever. So there's lack of educational and there's lack of communication to the property owners. I know it's our responsibility to take care of the trees. And that's why 5 days before the hurricane was going to hit us, I took care of this tree. No reason I tried to abuse it, I tried to damage it. I have pictures of the day that the tree was cut. All the garbage was disposed. There was no residue whatsoever anywhere. And I have pictures from today of the same tree. And in no reason the tree is dying, it's being hurt, no roots have been damaged. This is a tree that's been in my property for over 30 years. And we trim it the same way every year.
You're saying you have always trimmed it the same way that it is. Do we have the aerial photo of what the tree is supposed to look like?
I don't believe there was an aerial photo submitted.
And the reason why we did the trimming on the tree is because all the branches were facing already towards the home, towards the house, towards the property. And in the previous hurricane, Hurricane Irma, part of the tree broke off and it landed on my roof and it damaged my fence. I don't know if you have, aerial pictures of that, but we had damage over our property. We didn't want that to happen again. So to avoid endangerment of even the public, we decided to trim the tree 5 days before the hurricane even was expected to hit. And also, Ms. Sanders was not there when Officer Crystal and whoever else was there were in call to be cited, to make a citation to my person. I spoke with Ms. Crystal over the phone, and I let her know that I was not at home, and I was not going to be at home until another hour. They didn't wait for me. They moved forward and went to another property to do whatever else they were doing. Nobody else after that approached to me to talk to me about the incident, and I am the homeowner. So these are the facts.
Judge, I can pull up an aerial for you if you give me a moment.
Sure.
So you can see the before.
Also, Your Honor, I'm right now in the North Miami zoning code, okay? And I'm on the pruning or trimming a tree in a manner, this is section 5, 2309, tree abuse prohibited, okay? The guidelines don't specify an amount per se of what the tree should be cut. So the local law for the city is not well defined. It's just a matter of one person's own perspective. And I don't think that's clear. Second of all, the state of Florida, it has an exception criteria for the sea grape tree, which is the tree that I have,
Mhm.
Cocoloba ubifera, and that's its scientific name, okay? And it states that trees cannot be cut below 6 feet in height. As you can see from the pictures, my tree goes another 10 feet over my house, over the roof of my house. So in no manner we have actually caused any abuse whatsoever to this tree.
Give us 1 second.
I'm trying to pull it up. I don't see it. Let me try one more thing. Do like Wanna make it flat? Mhm. Good. Do any of you can show the view? Judge, the best view we can get is a satellite view. No, should be up. Shortly.
Okay, where am I looking at now?
So, the red dot here is 12590 Croton Road. That's the property.
Mm-hmm.
1 second. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Easy, better.
Trying to see which tree it is.
I don't think we're trying to get the street view, but I don't think it's available. All we have is a satellite.
Yeah, that's a digitalized picture that doesn't really look like a tree per se. So,
In the meantime, Judge, I can ask the homeowners some questions if you allow
Sure.
me to.
Go ahead.
Sir, so you stated that because 5 days before the hurricane was coming, you did cut down the tree, correct?
correct.
So, and how long have you lived at this property for?
Several years.
How many years would you say? You said it's the tree
10,
has been there,
15.
and you said the tree has been there for 30 years?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you've been living there for the past 10 to 15 years, and so you've been a resident of North Miami for the past 10
That's
to 15
correct.
years. So that means you would be familiar with the code of ordinances that North Miami has?
No,
So.
because they
did-
were written lately. They were not written years ago.
Okay, have you ever, well, they are available, they are online and they're here as well.
I have them right here.
Okay. Now, did you at any point call I'm sorry, ma'am?
That's my wife.
Oh, okay. At any point, did you call the city of North Miami?
For what?
To advise that you wanted to cut the tree or try to get a permit to cut it before the hurricane?
I didn't have to call the city of North Miami because the governor DeSantis let everybody know that that's the time to take care of your property, to secure it.
No, that wasn't my question. My question was, at any point, did you call the city
I
of
just
North?
said, I didn't call the
If I
city
can
of
finish
Miami.
my question, I'll reiterate it. It's a simple yes or no. At any point, did you call the city to advise that, to try to get a permit, to advise that you were gonna cut down the tree?
Oh, excuse me, we didn't cut down the tree, we just trimmed some
Ma'am?
branches.
Judge?
Have you just walked in?
Yes, I'm
Okay,
his wife.
swear in, please. Officer, swear in.
Excuse me, but you have to rephrase
Sir,
it.
It's fine.
1 second, please.
Now, if you're giving testimony today in the case, please rise, raise your right hand as I issue the oath. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in these proceedings will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say aloud, I do.
Yes, sir.
That's
Thank
good.
Okay, please state your full name and relationship to the property.
My name is,
Speak into the mic.
my name is Caitlin Grandfield. I'm the wife of Gerald Uribe, who owns the home at 12490 Croton Road. Just wanted to say that we did not cut the tree down. The tree is currently over 40 feet tall. We just trimmed the branches. And the reason that we did that was because the branches used to hang over the sidewalk, which was a danger to the public. It used to hang over our driveway, which is a danger to our vehicles, and used to hang over our roof, which in the past we did have roof damage because of the branches of the sea grape tree. So we just had the branches trimmed. That's all. The tree remains. It's huge. It's, like I said, between 40 and 50 feet tall. We have photos of it right here. We have 5 large trees in our yard. We do love trees. We are very pro-environment. All of our neighbors want us to cut our trees down because they don't like the debris. And we're just trying to upkeep our trees and our property and to ensure that our property and the public don't get hurt if these branches were to have fallen. So we just trimmed the branches. The tree remains. So I don't think you need to call the city to notify if you're going to just trim branches. Is that correct?
So, Judge, obviously the tree remains. It's not for removal of the tree in its entirety. Under 5-2309 for tree abuse, on subsection 10, pruning or trimming a tree in a manner that does not follow acceptable pruning or trimming practices established by the standards is a violation. So I understand what you're saying, but pruning or trimming it is one of the violations in a way that's not acceptable. The tree expert who we hired, and Judge, I can pull up the previous letter saying that this is one of the trees that should not be getting trimmed, did state that when she reviewed the photographs that were submitted, it was tree abuse because of the manner that this tree was trimmed or pruned.
I have the exemption criteria right here. It says that trees 6 inches in height or more, sorry, 6 feet in height or more, which I said our tree, we have photos of it right here, is
Can you
currently
pass it forward? Can you
currently
show it to-
between 40 and 50 feet tall, as you can see.
Show it to the state.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, to the city attorney.
Okay, so I was just saying that we meet the exemption criteria. Trees 6 feet in height or more, no more than 1/3 reduction in height of each tree annually. We did not cut more than 1/3 of the tree, as you could see in the photos. The second bullet point says, provided there is no more than 1/3 of the leaf mass removed annually. As you see, at least 1/3 or more remains of the leaf mass. And the final criteria for exemption, pruning shall not result in plant being reduced to less than 6 feet in height. Again, this is our house right here. As you can see, the tree towers over our house, over our driveway, and the sidewalk is right here. We just had the branches trimmed that were over the sidewalk, over our roof, and over our driveway. The tree remains. We love the tree. Again, all of our neighbors want us to cut our tree down. They say it's too big, it's too messy. We take care every year to have our trees trimmed. That's all.
Okay.
Judge, I understand what they're saying, but I obviously disagree with the interpretation. Our expert states otherwise. And I'll read to the last paragraph. She says, based on an inspection of the remaining portion of the tree in the Google Maps aerial views to determine the original canopy coverage, staff has determined that approximately 700 square feet of canopy was removed. And because of the DVH of the tree is greater than 18 feet, the tree is considered a specimen tree, in which case mitigation requirements are doubled, accounting to a canopy replacement value of 1,400 square feet. And furthermore, per North Miami Code, Chapter 29, Tree Preservation and Protection Section, which I stated earlier, 5-2309, penalties assessed shall be doubled the amount of canopy replacement required by the code. The property owner must apply for a tree mitigation permit in order to replace the canopy that was removed. So the city's, position is that, yes, obviously the tree is still where, in place where it was, but the way that it was trimmed and pruned is not acceptable under the standards, under the ANSIA-300 standards under subsection 10 and 2309.
Excuse me, Judge, can I just submit this photo for you to see? This is the current condition
You can show it to
of the
her.
tree. As you see, again, our house is right here, the roof. The canopy does remain. Again, we just had branches trimmed that were towering over our driveway, over our roof, and over the sidewalk.
And that picture was taken this morning.
That was taken this morning.
Judge, and that can be done, but the issue here is that the city needs to be notified. These permits are required for a reason, not only for the preservation of these trees, but it can also be a safety hazard. I mean, in this past hurricane, one of the people who died was from Florida, and it was because of a tree and trying to prepare for this hurricane. These standards and codes are in place not only for the preservation of the tree, but also for the safety of the homeowners.
I
So-
take offense to that comment. The reason that we cut the tree was for the protection of the public. Again, these branches were towering over the sidewalk. We have a 3-year-old toddler who I just dropped off at school, which is the reason I came in late. So if you're talking about protection, this is what we're doing. We're homeowners
this
who
is
are trying
not-
to be responsible
Ma'am,
homeowners.
this is
One at a
not-
time, guys.
This is not personal, and it's not my job. I'm
Okay,
not
but you're
trying
talking about
to-
a death in
but I'm-
Florida. What does
but
that
I'm
have to
trying
do with our
tell you-
tree?
I'm trying to tell
Okay.
you the reason why the code was enacted,
Okay, I'm trying to tell you the reason we trimmed our tree branches. That's it.
and it's a violation. That's
Why
what
is
I'm
it a
trying to tell you.
violation?
It's
No, it's
under
not.
the code, ma'am.
No, you're
Okay.
not
Guys,
correct with
okay.
that.
You're alleging something that's not true.
I just take offense to that comment because we are responsible homeowners, and that's what our intent was with the trimming of our seed grape tree. We take pride in our trees. Again, we have 5 large trees in our yard. We get them trimmed every year. And as soon as the branches were cut, they were picked up and taken away. They weren't left on the swale or anything like that. We paid a considerable amount just to have that tree trimmed.
Judge, I can pass up the code if Your Honor wants to review it.
Yes, please, I'm reviewing their exemption criteria that they sent up as well.
Your Honor, I would just like to say one more thing whenever you're finished reading.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, in this exemption criteria that we submitted, if you see the dark green area here, and you look right underneath it to that first bullet point, it says maintenance of sea grapes in accordance with the conditions described above and not in conflict with the standards published in ANSI A300 Part 1. Tree, shrub, and other woody plant maintenance standard practices pruning are exempt from the permitting requirements of Chapter 161. Florida statutes for any number of consecutive years. Again, if we were to have wanted to cut a tree, of course we would have requested a permit, but we were just trimming the branches, that's all.
Judge, I can also read the definition under hat-tricking if Your Honor would like, under our code.
Explain to me on the memo that was sent where it says, however, that species is exempt, prohibited, and therefore does not warrant a violation.
1 second, let me go back to the Trish memo.
That's the first paragraph.
Oh, yes, Judge. So this is in regards to the neighboring property to the south. That was just because of the photos. Towards the end, it says, on the neighboring property to the south were improperly trimmed, where they crossed over the fence to this property. However, that species is exempt or prohibited and therefore does not warrant a violation. That's not regarding this property. So the arborist is going to see the overall view and speak on everything. What she does speak on this property is the third paragraph, because the second paragraph is just stating the Muni Code and the violation, which I previously read regarding this specific tree here.
We never saw any arborists come to our property. The woman who was going around giving citations, she didn't even know what tree that was. She was asking me if it was protected or not. And I just wanted to say, I find that kind of predatory behavior to go out in the days before a hurricane and go to a neighborhood and to give violations for people who are just trying to upkeep their property. I could understand if people are leaving large branches on the swale that could get blown away. But again, in our case, right after these branches were cut, they were immediately hauled away. And again, this was trimming of branches, it's nothing more.
I'm a bit stumped on.
Did Your Honor need me to read the definition for hat-tricking? Or Your Honor has it or knows?
Go ahead.
So it means to uniformly remove the major part of the tree's crown, reducing it in height, and leaving a number of large bare limbs characterized by a number of stubbed off branches, or pruning a tree by removing any branch 3 inches or greater in diameter at any point other than the point where the lateral branches meet the main trunk. So, I mean, Your Honor can see the photographs. This was done. I know it's not. Maybe Your Honor stumped a little bit because it's not like it's not as easy as the whole tree is removed, but this is a violation when it comes to pruning and trimming the trees in the city. A mere phone call, to the city to let them know that the code has been, published.
My husband had been calling Shauna Sanders for days without any answer.
And this is,
This
and I'm
is
just
post.
This is
This
post.
is
I'm saying
post. This is after the tree was trimmed.
Okay.
I guess what stops me is I'm pretty visual. I would want to see what the tree looked like prior to,
Right, and
them
there's no
cutting it
photos of
down.
it prior.
I don't have a pre-photo of what the tree looked like and to be able to determine. And I don't have the arborist here for me to be able to question him or her as to what does this tree typically or normally looks like? What is it supposed to look like? Because they're saying that they just trimmed it down.
And if you
to
can see the height,
to prevent the branches from falling over their roof, to prevent the branches from falling over their vehicle or the sidewalk.
But that
So
is, Judge. But that is a violation. And I explained why previously. Like, I totally understand the reason for them wanting to be safe and having kids at home and for the public and why they're trimming it down. But it just needs to be done the correct way and with a permit or with notice to the city.
Oh, yes, you're here.
I think it would have been a greater atrocity had a branch fallen over the sidewalk where people bike and walk with their kids. We were trying to be proactive homeowners in trimming our tree. That's all.
I'm
In terms
very
of-
concerned about this case, so I want to either table it. Is our arborist nearby?
She's a consultant, so we'd have to table it and have her come in, and I can have her come in.
This is causing
do
us a
that.
lot of stress, this case. You know, again, this is really, I feel, hurting us as homeowners and as citizens and residents
I
of North
understand,
Miami.
but at the same time, if you guys telling me that you've been doing the same thing for the past 15 years, we need somebody to be able to speak on it and tell you, because then you're going to be back here every year. Okay, so let's get it done and let's get it done right.
Okay.
Can we do that?
Yes, Judge. You just got to give me the date, and I'll reach out to see if she's available and make sure she's available and work it out.
Can I
When
just
is
add
our
one,
next court date?
one more thing?
Sure.
You know, since we always get our trees trimmed. We have, like I said, 5 very large trees on our property, so every year we get them trimmed. So, you know, if this was abuse, don't you think that the tree would have died by now if we have
Not
continued
necessarily. From all
doing
the testimonies that I've heard from arborists,
Mhm.
that's not necessarily correct. Sometimes the trees do, what do you call it? Flourish. But at the same time, I believe the testimony is that they're still not safe. If you abuse the tree for some reason or another, sometimes they still do have great green leaves, but at the same time, the arborist will tell you that it's not a safe tree. That doesn't necessarily mean that the tree was not abused. Just because it's growing back and, you know, it's blooming and we have green leaves or flowers, that doesn't necessarily means that it hasn't been abused. So because I want to know it too, and because this is your property and you want to be sure that you're doing it the correct way, I want us to subpoena the arborist to be
Sure.
present for the next hearing.
Okay.
When is our next hearing, Madam Clerk? November
November 13th.
13th. 9 a.m., right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Your Honor, is that a date that you're here, or do you mind if it's in front?
I don't mind.
If it's in front of
if
someone
it's
else?
in front of someone else.
Okay.
You understand? So long that we get the information out there
Sure.
and then we're clear.
So, I'm sorry, you wouldn't be here, Your Honor?
I may or may not be
Yeah.
the magistrate
Oh,
who
okay.
hears it, but at least we're going to have a full hearing with the arborist present to be able to testify in terms of, you know, their expertise on this. And it's going to help you as well. If you have large trees on your property, you need to be sure that you're cutting the trees the right way. Okay?
Your Honor, one more thing, please. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Does this mean that we are actually not following the guidelines made by the state of Florida?
But that's what we're going to hammer out at the next hearing.
Okay.
Okay? I'm going to give these back. Whose
Correction, the
photos
next
are
hearing
these?
is November 20th.
November 20th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is yours, right? And this is your photograph?
You can't make it.
So did you say the 20th or the 13th?
When is
The
it?
November 20th will be the next hearing date. My apologies.
Yes.
Counselors, are these yours? Or are these yours? Thank you. Does the date work for you guys?
I'm just gonna check my calendar really quick. Let's see, November 20th. Yes, that works.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so let's table it for November 20th.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
The next case is SDCVT 2019-00080, Rodney T. Yvonne.
Is anyone present? Rodney? Yes, he's here.
Okay.
Come
And
forward, sir.
Officer Wayne Clark.
Were you here all morning?
I drove from Daytona where I reside. This is my mother and my deceased sister's home.
Okay, so you
Yes.
need to be sworn in. You weren't
Yes.
present when we,
No, ma'am. I was
Okay,
not. No,
officer?
No, Your Honor.
okay. Swear him in, please.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear from that testimony you're about to give in these proceedings will be the truth, the whole
Good
truth,
morning.
and nothing but the truth? If
Speak
so,
up a
say
little
no.
louder.
I do.
I do.
Oh, he heard? Okay.
Good morning. Can you please state your name for the record?
Rod Yovan.
Not you, sir.
Oh.
The witness, sorry.
Actually, thank you, because I forgot to inquire. Yes, please state your full name again, sir, and your
Rod-
relationship to the property.
Rodney Yovan, and I'm the brother of the deceased.
Okay, thank you, sir.
And I'm not sure about what house it was at, because
Okay, we'll tell you in a few. Go ahead, Officer
Wayne
Clark.
Clark, City of North Miami Code Compliance.
Mr. Clark, did you give a violation on 8/21/2019 to the property at 1565 Northwest 123rd Street in North Miami, Florida? Can we put the ticket up on the screen, please?
Okay,
Well,
this one is not
actually-
legible.
Actually,
see it?
I can zoom in.
Okay, great.
yeah, that's the ticket itself. But prior to the ticket, they were issued a notice of violation to correct within 24 hours. Then the ticket was issued.
I want to
So-
speak just as to the civil violation ticket, which I have here. Do you recognize it?
Yes,
How do you recognize it?
I wrote it out and issued it.
Is it in the same or substantially the same condition when you wrote it, in your handwriting?
Mm-hmm.
The city would like to introduce the civil violation ticket into evidence.
Okay.
Mr. Clark, can you please explain to us how you came across the violation at this property?
My routine daily inspections in my zone area, I noticed that the both recycle container and also the garbage container were both filled with construction debris.
Now, I'm going to show you a series of photos. Do you recognize these photos?
Yes, I took them.
And you recognize them because you took them?
Yes,
Are they in the same or substantially the same condition as when you took them? I see they're dated 8/21/2019.
yes. The day before and the day after I issued the ticket, the cans are still remain in the same position, and the same content is still we're still in the cans.
The city would like to introduce these photographs into evidence.
All right.
Now, did you have an opportunity to speak to anyone on the property, Mr. Clark?
No one was at the property.
Okay. And you witnessed, is this the recycle bin that you witnessed in front of the property with the debris inside?
Well, actually, that picture itself is the garbage container, and then the lighter green one is the recycle container.
Okay. And what is this here that it has,
Looked like demo construction debris.
so it has construction debris in the recycling? Okay. I have no further questions for this witness at this time.
Sir, do you have any questions for the officer?
yes, we did have words, probably within the day after this ticket was issued in the street, and I explained to him that this warning went to 1545, and that's when I came in here to straighten it out and got this hearing, because even the person who gave me this hearing downstairs across the street couldn't, make out what address this went to. So these people, from my nephew, took this to that 1545, and then days later, we were issued a citation, or this was after the citation was issued 24 hours, I guess, after he left this warning. So my thing is, I got a 98-year-old mother in 1575. 1565, my sister passed away in February. There's nobody living there. And the dumpsters from across the street come to my property because they have so many cars. So they bring their dumpsters to the other side of the street. Ours, because we lost a few of them years ago, we marked our dumpsters. M for Millen, Y for my mother. Now, my mother's 98. There was nobody that could move the dumpsters. I explained to Mr. Clark, and he says that the only way to do this was come down here and issue this hearing. So I have photos of my dumpsters that are behind a giant 8-foot hedge, and I just, this stuff happens. So there's nobody living in that house on 1565. And 1575, my mother really has a hard time getting down the stairs. So what happens is the neighbors across the street will bring her dumpsters to the street and bring them back. But when I returned, what was it, 2 weeks ago, again, I come down 3 and 4 times a month and stay for 4 days at a time and then try and keep working, taking care of my mother with hospice and my family. My family, you know, lives at the other end of the block, and so my mother's constantly watched by, you know, people and hospice. So when they can't be there, I come down and I stay, which is my time till Tuesday of next week. So my problem is that these dumpsters are being used across the street, and they have so many cars, they bring them to the other side of the street, and then they're carried away. So when I returned and talked to Mr. Clark, I took it back across the street, and it was taken, you know, the next thing I know, the people are wheeling it back in, and ours are still placed behind the fence because nobody's living there. So it's a catch-22. Yeah, if I was there, I would have moved it on the warning, but I would have brought it back across the street like I did, and then the city took it away. So I'm here. I drove all the way from Daytona to try and straighten this out. And I have pictures of my photos of Y's and M garbage dumpsters because we have lost our dumpsters in the past. So years ago, we marked them. So ours sat empty, and in front of our property, we have full dumpsters, which aren't ours. So it happens all the time. Somebody dumps, then everybody else starts dumping. But they were self-contained. They were easy enough to wheel across the street, and they were picked up by the city as normal. Any big debris, everybody takes it to the curb, and once a week we get a claw, and they come and pick up branches, whatever you have as far as building. So this went to 1545 and was brought back to 1565. And if you look at the warning, nobody in my family could understand where it was. So the owners of 1545 brought it back, put it on our fence.
Show it. Let me see what you're talking about, the hearing notice, or
No,
what is it talking
not
about?
the hearing notice. This was the original
violation.
warning. This is a warning.
Okay.
By God, we would have moved it if there was anybody there at the house and
Show it to the city, and she'll pass it up.
And
So the violation is for, what is the violation for, guys?
1565.
It's for garbage accumulation, Judge, under 9-20A.
Well, if I may say something, Special Magistrate, I did realize that there was the wrong address, and I did go back and reissue another
one. So
notice of
that's when
violation.
that response. So I don't have the other one.
Oh, another notice of violation.
Yeah.
So he
No,
had the
there was-
notice.
there
Yeah,
was-
I've talked to
but
him.
then
Like you say, I talked to him right at the property, you know.
No, we talked at the end of the street in front of 15.
Well, I talked to him.
I ran you
Period.
down. You were in the neighborhood the day I came to back to Miami. So,
I
Speaking
have
to the
talked
mic,
him.
sir.
He is aware, though. You know, he was aware. You know, and he. You
that
know,
was,
he
the
said it
dumpster
wasn't
was already
his.
moved and taken away when I saw him. So
Okay, so your testimony is that these cans, they don't belong to you.
yes, ma'am.
They don't belong to your
Yes,
house,
yes,
your mom.
Honor. That's true.
And Judge, I'm passing up, Mr. Clark has it, the 9-20. So the issue is that because it's in front of his house, he will forever get a notice if it's in front of his home. So I don't know if it's something that he needs to speak to his neighbors or, you know, whoever, if he knows is doing this, take photographs of it, you know, call the city, call the police and let them know because it's on his property. He's responsible for,
It's on the
unfortunately, for the stuff that happens on his property.
It's not on our property. It's on the easeway for the dumpsters to be taken away.
In front of his
my
property, which is,
My problem is just last week when I left, I had to go back for this week, back to Central Florida. There was 3 green dumpsters in front of my mother's house. So the 2 neighbors, because of their cars, will bring them over. And I don't care as long as there's no, you know, or what is
Well,
she
you
gonna-
you need to show them the violation and tell them that
Well, I
you
will.
are
I-
getting cited
Yeah.
for
there's
them
nobody
to.
living in the house that they actually put the
Well, see,
summons.
I didn't know that. You know that there
There's
was that the house was vacant.
Okay.
You know. And he did tell me that it came from somewhere else, but it's hard for me to figure that out.
Correct.
You know, if
Because it's in
like
front of his property.
neatly
Right.
just placed out there like as if he put it out there.
Correct. So
But-
do you understand?
Yes.
He's
you're
not.
right.
He doesn't know, and he wasn't aware that the house was empty.
But
So
we have-
you need. So since you know that your neighbors across the street is the one that's putting the dumpsters in front of you said your cousin?
You know, I bought the home years ago, and my sister, I put it in her name to take care of my mother in 1575. So 65, 75, 85, and then at the corner, my nephew owns. So, you know, we've never had an infraction against us. We keep our properties up the best we can. In fact, on 1565, I'm here, you know, this weekend, and we're going to be painting it. So, you know, it did need attention. And so, you know, we fixed the wood on the fascias back last Christmas, you know, when she was still alive. And, you know, it was really hard for her to get things done, you know, and that's a personal thing. But we've all got together, and we're making these properties the way they should be, up to standard, and we keep them that way.
Well, we appreciate that. At the same time, talk to your neighbor or neighbors. I don't know who, you know, who's doing it, and tell them and show them that you are getting cited. And
All of them are marked with a big yellow and an M on our dumpsters. So
okay.
Now I know.
Huh?
I say now I know. I've been
Right.
educated about homeowner.
and the only reason why we did that is because we had them disappear in the past, you know. But, you know.
And then also, Special Magistrate, if I may say, if you could give me the residents that are doing that, I can give them a warning that their trash must be placed in front of the property. From which it was accumulated from.
Right.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And go from there.
Okay. So I will dismiss the ticket.
Greatly appreciate it. I have
All
a long
right.
way to straighten it out, and he's
But you need
he's in
to.
our neighborhood all the time, and you know he keeps it tight and right, and that's his job.
Thank you.
Right.
And you know, I'm helping the lady at the corner, and she's going to be painting too. And I talked to Rachel about it, and we just anything he does, we comply. We just to get it done.
Awesome.
And
All
if-
right,
and-
sir.
And if it takes another, you know, we all work with each other on that whole block. So we've been there. My mother's been there 80 years.
Oh,
She's
wow.
98 here this year. So
Good for her.
That's a blessing.
she still runs the show. You know.
That's good.
Very
That's
sound
good.
mind.
All right. Have
Thank
a
you,
good
Your
day,
Honor.
sir. All right. Are we done with ticket appeal?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, great. All right.
Judge, I do want to state one of the first ticket appears, Alejandro J. Lujan and Jose Trujillo, was already heard and was upheld to the $500 ticket for work without a permit. They did appear late. At this point, they can appeal it if they would like, but it's already been heard and
Your Honor,
argued. They just showed up.
we received a letter. This is the second time that we come to the hearing. We received a letter last time that said 10 a.m.
State your full name, sir.
Alejandro Lujan.
Okay.
So we thought it was a 10. We received the first time that we had the hearing. It was a 10 in the morning. We don't live in the property. We live down in Homestead, so we barely come to the property. We saw the ticket, and you know we didn't look at the time. I do apologize. It's our fault, but you know, I would really appreciate if we can go ahead and have the hearing.
It's not.
It was heard.
Same thing for Ms. Gabrielle Francis Bravo, Judge. I was the second ticket appeal. She just got here as well right when we were arguing this previous case. That was also upheld. They're both for work without a permit at this point because it's already been heard and
Right, but
upheld. It just if they want to appeal it, they can,
we
and that's the only venue and option
right.
we have.
Well, we're both here late for human error. You know, we're both human. There's I'm sure that there could be some empathy in between.
What are you gonna do? There's nothing else you can do. You can't rehear it.
Again, this is the second time we live down in Homestead. It's a 2-hour drive to come here. I do apologize. It's our fault, but we're here now. If we could go ahead and have the chance.
No.
Just for the record, we received 3 violations on that property. 2 of them we admitted fault on, and we're drawing plans, we're pulling permits, we're doing everything that we can. And this one is just, you know, it's not us. So that's why we're here.
Okay, you're here on the wooden fence that was
Yeah.
installed
Yes.
in the rear property. Are you gonna tell me there's a valid permit?
Well, we didn't. That's that fence is not on our property, and it was not built by us. So It's not on our property lines. It was the neighbor. We have pictures of when we had our fence and the neighbor didn't have a fence, and then he built his fence on his side. So
Judge, it was already heard. You can't take testimony on it. His option is either to pay it or to appeal it, which he has 30 days to do.
I'm
I
sure
mean,
that it would take around 2 minutes. We have the pictures and the videos of when the fence was on the other side, and we had our fence on our side. We have a survey that shows the property
Where
lines,
does
and it
it say
shows
we
the
cannot
fence.
recall a case?
Just like any case, once it's been heard, it's already it's either whether it's a criminal case, it's guilty or not guilty, or it's a civil case, it's already been heard. So in order to hear it again, there needs to be a new proceeding. So it needs to be either appealed, or the other option is that they pay the violation. But for Your Honor to take, Your Honor wouldn't be the person taking testimony; it would get appealed to the court. So there's nothing legally that says that you can reopen the case after it's already been adjudicated. Unless Your Honor knows of something that I'm not aware of, but that's my knowledge of how it works. And also, just for precedent purposes, there are a lot of people who come into these hearings late, and if Your Honor was going to
Again,
do
it's
that, you would have
it's
to
the
open up the
we're
floodgates to every single person.
again
that
we're
comes
dealing. This is a violation on the wrong property, and on the first place, we shouldn't even be here because of that violation. Because of that fence.
My issue, or my dilemma is, if you were present, you would have been able to make that argument, and that would have definitely impacted my ruling. Had I just made a decision without taking full testimony from the officer, then it would have been that I ruled against you on a technicality, and I would have just reopened the case so I can hear full testimony. The issue is I had a hearing on it. The officer testified, I looked at the evidence, and then I made the ruling because there was no one here, on your side to be able to defend against it. And so my hands are tied in that we had a trial, we had a hearing, I heard testimony. Based on the unrebutted testimony that were presented, I made a ruling. So, and that's true in both cases. Had I said, okay, I got proper notice, they're not here, I'm just going to enter an adjudication and find on behalf of the city, then that would have just been that I made a ruling based on a technicality, and maybe I would have been able to reopen it to hear full hearing, to have full testimony on the case. But at this point,
Your Honor, what evidence was presented to prove that the fence was on my side?
Judge,
Like I
he's
said,
gonna have to
this is
go
the
back on
second
that.
time
We have a
that
full room of
we
people
get
and a full-
rescheduled.
okay,
The first time
you're
was at
both
10.
talking at the same time, and
apologize.
I can't hear.
And Judge, so we have a full agenda and a full room of people who've been waiting since 9 a.m., maybe a little bit earlier. Unfortunately, these gentlemen arrived late. If they want to review what occurred, they're more than welcome to review it. It's online. It will be posted. It's live, so you can watch it whenever. It's literally the first case that was called, but at this point, it's unfair to everyone else who's sitting here, who's been waiting all morning, to go back and rehash what happened in their case.
We would have been done by now with the evidence that we do have, rather than be arguing back and forth if we would have been recalled the case.
I understand. Here's the situation. We started at 9.
I apologize.
You said that you thought it was at 10 o'clock. The officer thought it was at 10 o'clock. I thought it was at 10 o'clock, and I had to go back and review the notices that were sent, and I was here on time. Everyone else were here on time. And so ma'am, I see you raising your hands. Again, you guys were late. We just had a full hearing on both cases. If you were present, you would have heard that any decisions that I made, you can appeal to the circuit court within 30 days of the order. Okay? So you guys are,
I was calling since 8 in the morning. Nobody picked up the phone.
who were you calling?
To here, to the city hall. I was calling to let them know that I was gonna be late because my son had a fever all night and my husband had to come back from work. So
I
could come here.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. Again, I made the ruling. You guys have 30 days to appeal my decision to the circuit court, and we're going to proceed with the, what is it, new business? I apologize, guys.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The
What do
first
we have
case
next?
under new business.
No, I have to reread. I have to read the opening.
Why?
And these are new cases, right? Because we just completed appeal. That was for appeal
Oh, you have another one?
ticket. Yes, we do.
Oh.
All right. Good morning. Is it still morning? Yes. Okay. This is a code enforcement hearing for the city of Miami. Today is October 16, 2019, and I am Beatrice Cazo, Special Magistrate for the city. The purpose of this hearing is to determine if a code violation exists at your property as observed and cited by a code enforcement officer of the city. If the city is not able to prove its case, then I will dismiss the case and you may leave. These proceedings are being recorded, therefore all persons who are speaking should do so one at a time to ensure that all testimony is clearly audible on the recording device. If English is not your primary language, then please inform me when I call your case. We have a translator who will assist you during the proceedings. When your case is called, the property owner, agent for the property owner, and any witness that you may have should come forward to the podium on the left side of the room. When asked, please speak directly into the microphone and say aloud your name, your business or mailing address, and your relationship to the property. If you are not the property owner or an attorney representing the property owner, then you must present a notarized power of attorney affidavit in order for your testimony to be taken on behalf of the property owner. For new cases, you will be asked for the record if you are aware of and understand the violation that is being heard today, and do you understand what is required to resolve the violation. Please answer accordingly. The city will present its case first, and then the property owner and or violator will be given an opportunity to testify on their own behalf, to bring forward witnesses to testify, to present evidence and photographs, and to cross-examine the city's witnesses. Following the case presentation, I will issue a finding of fact on the case. If I find that a violation of city codes exists or existed at your property, then depending on the case type, I will set an abatement date for the violation to be resolved. My order will include an abatement date by which you must resolve the violation and a daily fine amount that I may impose at a future hearing date should the violation not be resolved by the abatement date. If I find sufficient cause to postpone enforcement action at this time, I will table this case proceeding to another hearing date in the future. If you do not agree with my finding of fact and or ruling, then the property owner may appeal the administrative order on the case to the circuit court. An appeal must be filed within 30 days of the date of the execution of the administrative order to be appealed. In accordance with Florida statutes, if a person decides to appeal any decision made by the special magistrate with respect to any matter considered at these proceedings, then the person will need a verbatim record of the proceeding. This record includes the testimony and evidence upon which the appeal is to be based. The cost of obtaining the verbatim record shall be the sole responsibility of the appellant, and it is recommended that persons who plan to appeal their case should provide their own court reporter at these proceedings. Pursuant to city codes, if the city of North Miami prevails in prosecuting a case before the special magistrate, the city shall be entitled to recover all costs incurred in prosecuting the case. The current cost assessment amount is $100 per case. Once the city records an order that imposes a fine and authorizes a lien against the property, then the city will charge additional administrative fees to record and release the lien. If you are present, those of you who were already here have been sworn in, but if you just walked in and you're present and will be given testimony on the case, please stand and raise your right hand so the officer could administer the oath. If you're giving testimony, please stand, raise your right hand, so the officer can administer the oath. Only one person?
So everyone here doesn't have a ticket?
Okay, can you translate for?
I thought you asked for just people that were not here before.
Correct. No, I saw you.
He was here.
Okay. Is the gentleman, can you say it in Spanish, just in case? Ask anyone who just walked in who were not present when we first, he was here. How about the gentleman, the two gentlemen in the back? Were they here? Okay. And ma'am? Okay.
It's not a new case, it's not appeal. Does it mean that we're having a hearing today or?
We did appeals. What's your name?
Julian.
Oh, it's not an appeal, it's an old business.
Okay. All right, so we have one person. Officer, can
Okay.
you?
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in these proceedings will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say aloud, I do.
All right,
Okay,
thank
thank
you.
you. Please be seated.
Okay, please call the first case.
Eliza Carrillo. Forgive me for the, I didn't say your name correctly. The case number is CELDR 2019-00012. Officer Shanna Sanders.
Sir, please state your full name and relationship to the property. I think he needs an interpreter, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Diga su nombre completo.
Eliezer Carralero.
Eliezer Carralero.
Okay. Eliezer. Okay.
Un momento.
My apologies. Can we call this case again? Is this the one for the LDR or the PFY?
Ella va a presentar el caso.
I'm going to first and foremost, apologize to the property owners who have been here. Let me see. Shanna Sanders, City of North Miami, Code Compliance Officer. This is a new case for a driveway that needs to be installed in the front of the property. I will state, they have recently obtained the permit. I have had conversations with the property owner. I thought that this was emailed to administrative staff, asking that this be tabled for 2 months. Because again, they have recently obtained the permits, per me and the property owner's conversations. He's going to proceed with the work, hopefully within the next month. So again, we can table this with hopes that construction or the driveway will be installed soon.
All right, sir, we're going to table your case, okay, for 2 months.
El caso yo.
I have the permission now. Tengo el permiso ahora.
Yes.
I have the permit now.
Right, the officer stated that you obtained the permit,
Sí,
so
el oficial dijo que ya tiene permiso.
that's why we're tabling your case
Entonces vamos a
for
poner
2
su caso
months.
de aquí a 2 meses para ver cómo está.
Ya, yo lo voy a hacer en este
And if the work is completed,
I
then
will
you can
finish.
contact the officer and let her know, and she can take it off calendar.
Una vez que se termine el trabajo, se contacta con el oficial.
Ya.
Con ella.
Okay? All right, sir, thank you.
Gracias.
All right.
Next case.
Yes, please.
The next case is Dean Evans, case number CEFOB 2019-00014. The officer is Karen Jean Lewis.
How do I get out of here? Okay, and because it took it all the way out, it didn't supposed to do that, is it?
Good morning, Co-Compliance Officer Karen Jean Lewis. The property 13151 West Dixie Highway was cited for failure to obtain a business tax receipt. Verified this morning with Stephanie Thomas from the BTR office that it's been obtained along with a certificate of use.
Okay. So it's dismissed? Okay.
Next case is Jose Antonio Iglesias Aleman, case number MHVIO 2019-00002.
You can come forward, sir.
The officer is Gary Beswick.
Thank you. Please state your full name in relationship to the property.
Sure. J.C. Sanchez. I am the attorney on behalf of Jose Iglesias Alaman.
Thank you, sir.
Thankfully, it's not an issue.
Good morning, Gary Beswick for the City of North Miami.
Good morning.
The permit is still pending, so I'm not sure what's up there. We have
The last update I received yesterday was the, I guess the permitting department here had asked the engineer for additional calculations. The engineer is almost done with them. He told me, relayed yesterday that they should be done within a week or two. So if we can table it, hopefully, I think you said November 20th is the next hearing date. The City of North Miami would have had a chance to review the calculations and make a determination on the pergola.
Okay.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you, sir.
Will it be on November 20th, the next hearing date, or is that randomly selected?
The next hearing date is November 20th.
Okay, I'll jot it down.
I think the attorney was present very early today. Why couldn't we call his case out of turn?
Because of the way that we have the system, it gets, it gets
Huh?
cut. She has to do ticket appeals first, and then it gets cut based on the time when she closes it. That's it. We have to go in order because everything gets, it's a different system now.
All right, thank you, Counselor. Mm-hmm.
The next case is Carlos B. Morales,
Is anyone present?
case number CELDR 2019-00011. Officer Shanna Sanders.
Carlos Morales? I guess not.
Shanna Sanders, City of North Miami Code Compliance Officer. This is a new case for under land development regulations for a driveway, not having the proper driveway installed. This was a new case that was opened July 12th, 2019, whereas I first observed the violation, sent the notice of violation, sent the second notice August 6th. As of today, I have had one conversation with the property owner, whereas he stated he was going to apply for a permit to install the driveway. There is a lot of bricks and pavers on the side of the house, but as of the day, driveway still remains in need of being installed. He's parking the vehicles where it appears, a driveway should have been. There's little rocks, grass, landscaping there. But again, the proper driveway needs to be permitted and installed. I am showing that I have given proper notice. After the property was posted on September 26, 2019 at 11:50 a.m. Yeah. Notice to appear again stating September 26, 2019 at 11:50. I have photos of the violation if you would like to see. Okay, this is what the front of the property looks like. Of course, as you see where he's, parking all the way through, he's, and due to the trees, it's just a lot of grass. Where he's pulling in, he's using that area to be parking. As you see, not sodded, needs to be, installed. the front of the yard, rocks and stuff. You know, definitely has damaged the grass area. So again, we had a conversation stating that, you know, he was going to install it, but again, as of today, this is how the property remains, where as of last Wednesday, this is how the property was looking. As of today, no permits have been submitted to the city.
Sorry. Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer and the evidence presented, I find that the violation does exist. I also find good notice, given proper notice, the owners have failed to appear, hereby find in favor of the city, enter an adjudication. Property owner has until, you guys didn't give me dates, did you? Okay. November 13th, by which to resolve the violation. If the violation is not resolved by the abatement date, there will be a daily fine amount of $350.
Next case, Shanna M. Scott, case number CEI-VY 2019-00127, Officer Jose Perez.
Shannon Scott. Oh, Jenna. Is it Jenna? Jenna M. Scott. Okay. Yes, officer.
City of North Miami Code Enforcement Officer Perez. Today we're hearing the case in reference to the property located at 245 Northeast 124th Street. This violation is regarding to a derelict vehicle that is being stored at the property, specifically a crashed vehicle. This was previously adjudicated, and actually no, it was
Okay, I was
tabled
about to say.
to October 16th. And as of my final reinspection, the
Do you know
complaint
why we
has not been
tabled it?
made. Yes, the grandson came in and he advised that it was his car, and he said he was going to cover it. Unfortunately, he never covered it.
Okay. He never covered it?
He never covered it. He never removed it. It's in the same condition.
Okay. Tell me about notice and let me see the pictures.
All right, so September 24th, 2019, or approximately 2:43 p.m., I posted the property, and this is a photograph of the posting for the notice of appear.
And I think I told him too.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I told him. Okay.
It was heard by you, and then these are photographs of the actual vehicle. As you can see here, October 9th at approximately 10 a.m., we have the vehicle there, still in the same conditions. And this dates back quite some time now. I have photographs from September 4th, and prior to that, I couldn't locate the other pictures that I had, but yeah, it's in the same condition, and nothing has been done.
Okay. And then it's inoperable? I'm assuming.
It's crashed, it's not moved, it's derelict.
Since the last hearing.
Correct.
All right, and based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer and the evidence presented, I find that the violation still exists. Also find in favor of the city, enter an adjudication. Find good notice, property owner had, was given proper notice, and failed to appear. Property owner has until November 13th by which to resolve the violation. If the violation is not resolved by the abatement date, there will be a daily fine amount of $150.
Thank you.
Eduardo Boquin, case number MHVIO 2019-00100, Officer
morning.
Gary Beswick.
Good morning,
Morning,
sir.
morning,
Please
morning.
state your full name and relationship to the property.
My name is Eduardo Boquin. I'm an owner.
Okay.
Okay, my case is easy. I was here a couple of weeks ago, and this court imposed me a fine, the money that I pay, for a roof violation. I didn't.
Sir, I'm going to ask you, let's allow the city to present its case first, and then I will give you an opportunity to respond.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Good morning, Gary Beswick for the city of North Miami. The property was The property owner was notified on March 6, 2019 for failure to obtain the required permit for re-roofing the roof that was in progress at the time. As of today, there is no roof permit that has been obtained.
All right.
And those are the pictures that was taken by the code officer that I got a complaint from.
And these are workers on
What?
top of the roof?
That's correct.
Okay.
And this is the permit history of the property. I print this morning, so they haven't obtained a permit as yet.
It is kind of sweet, but it's okay.
Property was posted a notice to appear on September 25, 2019 at 10:48 a.m. And that's my case. No permits.
All right. Mr. Is it Boquin?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, I didn't apply for permit in that time because my roof was leaking. So I was here. The court imposed me a fine, the money that I pay. And I thought it was over the case.
3.
But it's not. So I need more time. So I need more time to try to get the permit because that's gonna cost me money plus hire a contractor.
When was the case open?
March.
March.
Yeah, but I received this letter 2 weeks ago. So after I paid the fine, I thought was
I think
it
he
was
probably
over.
confused. He probably got a ticket. That's probably he's confusing the violation notice with a ticket.
Okay.
So the only I asking to this court is more time to get the permit, at least 3 weeks.
Why has it taken 7 months, Mr. Eduardo?
Well, because they sent me here to pay the fine. So after they paid the fine, I thought was the case was over. So
But you still didn't pull the permit. You didn't understand that was the violation,
The-
that you needed to apply for a permit, that you needed a permit
nobody
to?
told me here in this court. Just
Huh?
put in this court, nobody told me that I need a permit. Just put me the fine plus $100 court. The
But you
money that I
received
paid
the notice.
Just
In
these
the
two-
notice, it tells you what the violation is.
2 weeks ago.
No,
No, that's not
this,
possible,
no,
Mr.
this is
Eduardo.
2 weeks ago. I didn't receive nothing else.
2 weeks ago is probably the notice for today's hearing.
Yes, this is the card, the letter that I received.
Correct. But
Nothing else.
you have been in violation since March. So it's hard for me to believe, having been doing this for so long, that you've only received notice that you are in violation
I
of
was-
trying to,
I have it on the screen, the notice that went out.
yeah, can you
basically.
pull it up,
It's up
please?
there.
Oh, okay, sorry. And what's the date on it?
March 6, 2019.
Okay, and what does it say is the violation?
Please obtain all required permits for re-roofing in progress without permits.
Okay. Sir, this letter was sent to you on March 6th.
I was
This
here.
is the letter that tells you what the violation is.
That's why I was here, and this court imposed me $500 fine.
That's for a ticket.
Okay, that's
That-
for the ticket.
Okay, I
But
pay-
you, correct, you may have paid the fine.
Yeah.
But you still never applied for the permit.
No, ma'am, I didn't because I thought was over. The case was over. So that's why I'm here. I need at least 3 weeks to apply for the permit. At least.
I'm gonna
Um,
see you.
what we are seeking is adjudication and 30 days to abate the violation. The work is already done. So
Correct.
basically, we just need to apply for the permit so we can
Right.
so get an inspection from the city.
Correct. Okay. So, Mr. Eduardo, I find that the violation still exists, unfortunately. So I have to find in favor of the city. So I'm entering an adjudication, meaning that I find you guilty of doing work, construction without pulling a permit, the proper permit. But I'm going to give you time to do it. You have until, no, wait a minute. We're at October 2016, November 13th. You asked me for 3 weeks, right?
At least.
Okay, so that's what you'll have. November 13th, which means you really have to get a move on
Okay.
to apply for the permit.
Perfect.
The work is already done, right? The work is complete?
Yes.
Okay. So you have to pull a permit so that the city can come and inspect the work to see whether or not it was done up to code.
That's correct.
Okay. So you have until November 13th to comply. If you're not in compliance, then I'm going to see you back here on November 20th. And I'm going to impose a fine amount. That's $500
Again, yeah.
every day over that you didn't do what you were supposed to do.
Yes.
You can imagine that it accumulates really fast.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
All
Thank
right,
you.
sir. Thank you.
I
Good luck to
appreciate
you.
it. Thank you.
Efren Santibanz, case number RCCOR 2018-00031. Officer is Gary Beswick.
All right. Good morning, sir. Please state your full name and relationship to the property.
Buenos días, diga su nombre completo y su relación con la propiedad.
Efraín Santibáñez, soy el dueño.
Efraín Santibáñez, I am the owner.
Good morning, Gary Beswick for the City of North Miami. The property was cited for failure to obtain an approved reoccupancy certificate prior to title transfer back in October 3rd of 2018. They applied for an after-the-fact reoccupancy, which did not pass the inspection because there's a lot of alteration and renovation that was done on the property prior without a permit. So in order to get an approved reoccupancy permit, they need to obtain all required permits for the work that was done and apply for reinspection. So we're seeking an adjudication and can ask him how much time he needs to comply.
Show me, who is it?
For-
Efrain, right? Oh, is this the?
This is reoccupancy
Got it.
certificate.
Okay. Okay. Sir, do you understand the violation? Do you know what
Entiende.
you need to do?
¿Entiende la violación? ¿Sabe lo que tiene que hacer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And you plan on getting it done anytime soon?
¿Tiene planeado terminarlo pronto?
Sí, de hecho ella puso los planos, ella presenté los planos. Lo que pasa es que ahora los planos hay una parte que tengo que hacer para hacer algún arreglo en los planos.
Yes, I have already submitted the blueprints, and there's a portion of that that needs to be corrected at the present time.
All right. So, sir, you have until November 13th.
Entonces tiene hasta noviembre 13.
And if it's done, contact the officer.
Si ya
Maybe
lo ha
he'll take it off
terminado,
calendar.
tiene
If
que
not, I will
contactarse
see you back
con
here
el
on November
oficial.
20th.
Si no está hecho así, entonces
I do find a violation
lo veré a
exists.
usted
I find
aquí.
in favor of the city,
Yo
enter an
veo que hay una
adjudication.
violación, entonces estoy dando un fallo
And there will
favor
be
de
a
la
daily
ciudad.
fine amount of $150 for every day that you are not in
Habrá
compliance.
una multa de $150 por cada día adicional que no haya cumplido.
Entonces en noviembre 13 que tengo que haber presentado que los permisos, todos los permisos, son como
Repita otra vez.
En noviembre tengo que haber presentado los permisos ya, todos.
So for November 13, I had to already have submitted all the permits and all that. Is that what you mean?
Is that what we're?
No, in order to cure the violation, you have to obtain the permit, pass inspection, then apply for a reinspection for the reoccupancy certificate.
Tiene que-
In order to the violation
tiene que
close,
tiene que
you
haber
need an approved
presentado
reoccupancy
los-
certificate.
sacado los permisos y también una vez aprobado tiene que haber
Should I
pedido-
amend the date to
re-
December 11th?
Yes.
Tiene que pedir que
Okay.
le
Let me,
revise.
I'm going to give you to December 11th, so that gives you a little more time
Bueno,
to
puede
do.
darse hasta diciembre 11 y eso le dará un poco más de tiempo.
Okay, 2 months. Okay.
2 months, it's okay.
Okay? All right, sir. Good luck to you.
Suerte.
GRK Otto, CH of Annunciation, Inc.
You go ahead and table that for 3 months.
Okay. All right.
Humane Case number CEBLR 2019-00028, Officer Karen Jean Lewis.
Good morning, Co-Compliance Officer Karen Jean Lewis for City of North Miami. This property, 690 Northeast 132, was cited to affix the property address in a contrasting color so that it could be visible from the public right-of-way. And the property still hasn't complied. The violation was originally issued July 10th, 2019. Notice to appear. Hold on. Was posted to the property on September 24th, 2019 at 2:46 p.m. And as you can see from the picture, you can't even see the house numbers. And the main reason why I went to the property is because I got a complaint about overgrown grass, and it took me a little while to try to figure out
Which house?
which house it was on the block. So,
All right. Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer and the evidence presented, I find that the violation does exist. I also find good notice. Given proper notice, the owners have failed to appear. I hereby find in favor of the city enter an adjudication. Property owners have until November 13th by which to resolve the violation. If the violation is not resolved by the abatement date, there will be a daily fine amount of $50.
Jean Narcisse, case number MHVIO 2019-00083.
Jean Narcisse.
The officer is Gary Beswick.
Good morning, Gary Beswick for the City of North Miami. The property was cited back on February 27th, 2019 for failure to obtain a required permit for converting a detached car garage into a living space. As of today, there is no permit has been obtained. The property was posted a notice to appear on Tuesday, September 24, 2019 at 9:55 a.m. I took a picture of the posting. An affidavit of services on file. Let me show you a picture of the detached. This detached structure is in the rear of the property, which supposed to be a garage. It's no longer a garage. It's a separate living unit now.
It's, okay.
So there's no permits on file to converting that detached garage into a living space. So we're seeking adjudication.
Okay. And you said the notice was posted on, what is it? Looking for it.
September 24, 2019 at 9:55 a.m. And I also spoke to a gentleman that identified himself as the property owner after I posted.
Okay. Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer and the evidence presented, I find that the violation does exist. I also find good notice. Given proper notice, the owners have failed to appear. Hereby find in favor of the city enter an adjudication. Property owners have until November 13th by which to resolve the violation. If the violation is not resolved by the abatement date, there will be a daily fine amount of $500.
Thank you.
Shine Investments, LLC, case number RCCOR 2018-00023. Officer is Gary Beswick.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. Please state your full name and relationship to the property.
My name is Sheila Meze, and I'm the manager of the company.
Okay, thank you.
And
Yeah, let's give him an opportunity to present his case, and then I'll give you an opportunity to respond.
Good morning. It's Gary Beswick for the City of North Miami. Basically, she trying to sell a property, and the last time we was here, she said she have a buyer. Then we still haven't got that buyer as yet with paperwork. Yesterday's potential buyer came to our office to discuss the property, but we still haven't have paperwork to go through the proper process of that title transfer. So I guess we need to hear from her where we at with that.
Okay.
Yes, I'm having a hard time selling this property because of the addition that needs to be fixed, and I decided to sell it as is, and my terms on the contract always is that the new buyer will have to file for the permit for the reoccupancy certificate. So I do have a contract, but you know, my terms are, you know, they need to do this, apply for prior to closing. So I would ask a little bit more time until, you know, all the paperwork finalizes. So if I could get at least a month or so, or maybe until December. It's gonna close soon. I do have a contract that needs to still finalize, a couple initials missing, but at the same time, unfortunately, my previous contract failed, so I had to start again. So there was a new potential buyer yesterday, and I'm literally in the midst of figuring this out with a new buyer. So I would need at least, if I cannot get a month, like maybe until December, but most likely as soon as the contract is signed, within the next week or so prior to closing, but closing takes about 30 days. So the new buyer will apply for it, because that's the only one way I'm selling the property. So I would need at least, if I can, just to be sure, so I'm not here next month for another asking for an extension, if I can get until December.
Mr. Beswick?
And the problem with this is been going on for a while, and every time that the buyer realize what they're getting themselves into, it seems like they keep backing away. Because the potential buyer that I met yesterday did not sound like they're really sure if they want to get involved in this. So I would have entertained in a month, but 2 months no, because it's been going on too long. So if she can't do it in a month, I'd ask to let it find goes, and basically they can negotiate it after that, because it's been going on for a while, and every time a potential buyer comes, they seem like they're scared to get into whatever need to be resolved.
What I'm concerned about is that if I enter an adjudication and I run a fine, then that's really going to push the buyers away.
Yeah, that's
so I can table it until November 13th.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll give it a third day, but not 2 months, because it's been going on too long.
Right. I can.
If I could get that, because as I said, I'm already having a hard time selling the property, and most likely, if I cannot sell it by then, it's going to go foreclosure. I don't have them. I already did the work, but I didn't realize that I purchased it without a reoccupancy certificate, and the seller was nowhere to be found. So I made a mistake by doing it, but at the same time, I lost so much money with this. It's probably gonna go for foreclosure if I'm not able to sell. And you are right, Your Honor. If I have another fine, then I have no chance to sell this property.
Okay.
So the more time I can get, even though I'm working hard on it, and Gary knows there's so many people, but he's right. But I will get it done, except I just need a little bit more. I don't know if November 13 is too close for me, but if I can get like a week, maybe 1 more week, I would appreciate it.
Okay. Without entering an adjudication, November 13th is the best I can do.
Okay, that's fine for me.
Okay. Good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Now we're in old business.
Yes. The first case under old business is 13033 Holdings Group LLC, case number MHVIO 2019-00126. The officer is Gary Beswick.
You might as well, just stay at the podium, all that. Good morning, sir. Please state your full name for the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Ramiro. I'm the owner of 13033 Holdings Group LLC.
All right.
And I spoke with the engineer. He asked me if I can give him.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, give me a minute, because I don't know anything about the case. Let's allow Mr. Beswick to present his case.
Good morning, Gary Beswick for the City of North Miami Building Department. And yeah, it's been heard before. So basically, as is an update of where we're at with the required permits. So basically, you can go ahead and say what's going on.
All right. Go ahead, sir.
So I spoke with the attorney consultant for this, and he asked me if I can give him 2 more weeks to finish the plans. By the way, Your Honor, I already had a permit for asphalt on this property, but it expired due to a lawsuit that came in afterwards on ADA of something that was going on here in Dade County, people walking into shopping centers and just suing for ADA compliances. So I had to redo the plans, and he just asked me for a couple of more weeks to finish it.
We can go ahead and table it for 30 days.
All right, table for 30 days.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, sir.
13055 Northeast 6th Avenue. The case number is MHVIO 2019-00292. The officer is John Dorville.
Is anyone present for 13055 Northeast 6th Avenue? Nope.
Still more, good morning. John Dorville, City North Miami Code Compliance Office. MHVIO 292. This is actually, we're just coming up on, this was heard already. It's in reference to the property electrical gate not being functioning. It was cited based on that as an amenity that has been not provided, not operating. It was posted on 9/24 of this year at 2:50 p.m. As I said before, this property was, the gate's not functioning, it's an electrical gate. And I'll show you the picture. That is a picture of the electrical gate. Obviously, the chain is rusted and hasn't been functioning from the time that I opened up this violation. Obviously, proper notice was given. I've had conversations with the property owner, but still nothing has been done at this particular property.
What kind of property is it?
This is a multi-family apartment house.
Okay. So this is like a second entrance or exit?
Well, it's the main entrance. It just remains open all the time. So
Okay.
This particular violation was written as a complaint from an occupant of one of the apartments. I cited it, spoke with the property owner. They said
Oh, you have had contact?
I have had contact with the property owner, but they just have not fixed it.
Okay. And this was opened back in June?
The original violation, yes, ma'am. It's actually July the 3rd.
Okay. All right. Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer and the evidence presented, I find that the violation does exist. Also find good notice, given proper notice, the owners failed to appear. Hereby find in favor of the city, enter an adjudication. Property owner has until November 13th by which to resolve the violation. If the violation is not resolved by the abatement date, there will be a daily fine amount of $350.
Thank you.
3AS Development LLC, case number RCCOR 2018-00028. The officer is Gary Beswick.
3AS Development LLC. Okay.
Good morning, Gary Beswick for the city of North Miami.
I'm sorry, Gary. So since these are already old business, are we just gonna have put the fines into place to start running already? Because they were already guilty.
That's correct. Starting from, well, actually,
Right.
yes. So why, did I just enter new fees?
Yes.
Okay, then we need to strike that.
Yes.
What was the
Well,
thing amount?
For the 13055 Northeast 6th Avenue,
Mhm.
the fine was
Abatement.
already $250 from October 9th.
Okay, then that's the one.
So
That's
you-
the amount retroactive to that date.
Yes, ma'am.
Was this the only one from everything we've heard so far?
It was, the 13033 Holdings Group LLC was tabled. So we're good to go.
Okay, great. Just remind me of what the abatement amount was
Will
when
do.
I call it. Okay. I'm sorry, where are we now? Oh, item number 3. Go ahead, Mr. Bestwick. Sorry.
Good morning, Gary Beswick for the City of North Miami Building Department. This property was also already found guilty. There's not an approved occupancy on file. It was posted to notice to appear on September 24, 2019 on the gate at 1:57 p.m. We still haven't have an approved occupancy.
No?
Nope,
Okay, what is the fine amount?
250.
Okay. Well, 250 retroactive to October 9th, correct?
October 14th.
October 14th?
I mean, August 14th.
August 14th.
August
Okay,
14th.
good. All right, it's ratified. I'm sorry, Mr. Bestwick, what was the notice for today's hearing? Before I move. You may have said it, but I
I
apologize.
think September 24, 2019 at 1:57 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
770 Condominium Association, Inc. Case number.
Comply.
Comply?
Complied?
Yes.
Okay.
Julian Oduris.
You can
Case.
table 2 months.
We're giving you 2 months.
I'm gonna go to the
Sir,
table for 2
go ahead,
months.
so, you want to
This-
state your name for the record,
my
sir?
name is Julian Aduris, owner at 235 Northeast 124th Street.
Okay,
I've already finished this project months ago. I'm trying to show that to the city and get an inspection as soon as I can. I've hired an architect that done the plans and charged me
arm and a leg?
money that I debt that I incurred in.
Mm-hmm.
I did the work myself. I hired a person to do the valuations for the AC. I've hired a contractor. This is already done. Everything that all the comments that are here, that's already done.
The part I have is regarding the permits, right,
Correct.
Mr. Burke?
You haven't got the permit as yet. That's
Okay,
the violation.
It's about the permits. And, do you understand, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
I
I
pulled
understand.
permits.
You did pull the permits?
He
Okay.
applied for
Officer,
it, but the permit, last time I checked, it wasn't issued. The permit have to be issued.
You applied for it, but it hasn't been issued yet, right?
I don't know.
Okay, so that's why Officer Beswick is giving you 2 months.
Giving me?
Correct, we're gonna table it for 2 months. By then, you would have received your permit,
Oh, I need to wait. I just need to wait.
correct,
Okay.
okay? You're doing what you need to do, but, you know, you didn't pull the permits, that's why you're in violation. But you have applied, and so we're gonna table this case for 2 months. So by then, you would have received it, do what needs to be done, make sure you stay in contact with the officer, okay?
It's very hard to be in contact with the office.
Okay, well, he's, roaming around
He's so
and
busy.
he's a busy guy. All right, sir, thank you, good luck to
I'm
you.
busier than him, but I'm at the city every week.
Right, well, it's your property, you know. All right, thank you, sir.
Long Island Apartments LLC, MHZCU 2019.
You can do this, go ahead and table for 2 months as well.
Okay.
MB and CS Investors LLC, case number CEFAW 2019-00156. The officer is Edme St. Louis.
Good morning,
Good
Code
morning.
Officer Edney St. Louis. This violation was opened back in July 11th. As of the final recheck, it still exists. This is It's for the fence, the chain link fence, sticking wire, and it's falling over.
Notice.
Notice was posted on September 27th at 11:50 a.m.
All right. What is the abatement amount?
Abatement date for it was
October. What was the amount? $250. All right. Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer, I find that the violation still exists. The fine amount of $250 is ratified.
Rochelle Cadet, TRS, case number CEPKS 2019-00003. The officer is Karen Jean Lewis.
Good morning, Dr. Cadet.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Hi.
Good morning, Co-Compliance Officer Karen Jean Lewis. The property 620 Northeast 128 Street was originally cited by now retired Code Officer Ernst Baptiste.
He retired? What?
Yes, he was, the property was cited to stripe the rear parking lot, resurface the handicap space and ramp, pressure clean and paint as needed. The last time we were here, the property was found guilty by the previous magistrate, and they had until September 11th to abate it, or else the fine would be $250 a day. After speaking with Rahima Golding from the building department, there seemed to have been some mix-up with the folios. Where the property is located, the parking lot in the rear belongs to the property, but the one in the front belongs to another property. However, we are here today. The property owner did apply for a permit. It hasn't been approved. And I'm not sure how you wish to proceed, Magistrate.
Let me hear from Dr. Cadet.
Initially, the violation was given wrongly. It was given to the next door, which is the CVS pharmacy. And we applied for several weeks, months. We have been rejected each time we went to the city, until we find out that the folio they give the violation was my neighbor. And each time I went to the city, I was told it wasn't the violation, that was for my neighbor. And you can imagine how much that hurt me for at least 3 weeks, until I called the Dade County tax to find out if I had lost my property. They say no. And I say, what happened? My property been sold. Because each time I went to the city, they say, no, not me for the violation. Until I asked, did I pay tax? They say, yes, you are up to date on the tax. You did not lose my property. Then I went back to the city. That's where I find out the code officer gave me the wrong folio. Right? So we apply now with but the problem is last Friday, I get rejected or denied by the zoning, because that when I bought that property, that was the office, And the next door, which was an empty lot, was another address that I get rejected with the 9 because they asked me to unify the both property by to one. Yesterday, I hired an attorney, real estate attorney, to do that unification, and for everything to be in one. So, and also, on 2 occasions, I had to hire 2 architects, and twice I had to pay surveyors because the first surveyor, when he came, he did the survey for the next door, for the one folio. And I had to pay again for him to come. That's where we are now. I don't know how long will take the attorney to unify. And I already have the company to do the resurface and everything. Everybody ready to go. But the permit, I cannot get it until now.
This is, this man has waited and wasted a great deal of time trying to deal with an issue that that was a mistake. I know this gentleman, by the way, just for disclosure. He is a prominent doctor in the community. So I know, his time is just as valuable as ours. But what are we doing?
It's up to you, Your Magistrate, because this case was not originally cited by me. It was cited by Ernst. I was simply given the case to present it here. When I went to the property, if you take a look at the picture, this is the area that was mentioned in the description that needed to be resurfaced, and the ramp needed to, hold on.
I'm not sure he's denying that what the work that needs to be done. What he's saying is that because we gave the wrong folio number, he was not able to get it done in a timely manner. And there was an adjudication entered? And what's the
Yes.
fine amount?
$250.
Okay. I'm gonna get from the city, how do I remove that and give him the time to play catch up?
You want to pause it and postpone it?
Correct.
You could just postpone it and not have the fines run, put a pause in the fines in the meantime until he can, so the fines aren't running, just don't ratify them.
I understand. The issue that I'm anticipating, I can give him 3 months. If I'm not the special magistrate hearing the case and there's an issue in 3 months at the next hearing, it's going to be ratified retroactive to whatever that date was.
You can do a fine at $0. It's not really a fine, but because it's already been adjudicated, and for someone to come later on, maybe do you have a notes section that you can write? I can ask the clerk to write something in the notes section if there's another magistrate here, in case one of us is not here and we don't recall. And just lower the fine to, I don't think, if you put it at $0 a day, it's gonna run at $0 a day.
Okay. What?
Yeah.
But there is a note section. I can talk to Kalai when I get there, and we can ask her how to go about not having him back out with any fines or return back to the actual adjudicated.
Okay. Can we do that? You wanted to add something, Ms.
Yes. Typically with cases like that, with the process we used to do before, I'm not sure if it will still apply. They would just table off agenda completely with notes, as Sherelle mentioned, and then whenever the the issue comes into a solution, then from there it either get dismissed or get scheduled again for an update. But you could also you could table it off the agenda until
Okay.
further notice.
All right, we'll table it off the agenda as mentioned without further notice. We'll also make a note that we have reduced the fine to $0. Okay? Do you understand, Dr. Cadet?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right, sir. Good luck to you. Do your best. You're trying to get it done within the next 90 days.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, I'll do.
All right, sir. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank
Have
you
a-
very much.
All right. Have a good afternoon.
All right. Thank you.
Our interpret. Thank you, guys. We'll see you back at 1, right? Yes. Okay.
Translators, can you please come sign in before you leave? Sign out, rather.
Where are you going? Don't we have one more?
Yeah, we have 2 more.
You signed in on page initially where it says Creole. Sign your name.
Okay, so it's the last person.
And then let me do the other too. Where it says Creole, go ahead and just write your name and put your initials here, like the signature.
New system, right?
Yeah.
SH005
Sorry, just a
LL.
second.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
You were in an accident?
Yeah, I was rear-ended this morning. So-
You okay?
I'm okay, yeah, I'm okay. A little shaking, but okay, I'm okay.
Gotta get checked out, yeah.
Because I know you guys are always on time.
Yeah, yeah, I just, stomach is damaged.
Yeah.
No, it's, yeah, that's.
That's both for him.
No, come up, Rick.
It's Creole.
Right there? No, that's Creole down here.
Oh,
Spanish over here. Spanish.
Okay, I misunderstood this.
No,
I
no,
have to fill it here.
No, sir.
No, in the same.
Where the officer's asking you.
It was already locked up by Universal. So GPS suggested go straight
And then
get
at
on
the 1 o'clock,
826 and
then
I
you
was
can
on
sign at the bottom.
Universal.
Put your initials at the X.
Okay.
There you go.
That's it. When you come back, you're gonna do this line.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
It's about 6 p.m., so we're gonna be here at 1.
Let's finish these.
Right. We're not having 6 o'clock in here. I know. All right.
The next case is SH005 LLC, case number CEWWC 2019-00066. The officer is Edme St. Louis.
Good morning, Code Officer St. Louis. This violation was opened back June 18th. It's regarding the roof. And as of the final recheck, I'm gonna show you an initial picture. This is what it looked like. And as of the final recheck, no one has contacted me. The mail was returned. And as of the final recheck, I didn't have access to the inside, but from the outside, you could still see there was no.
Let me see. I need a close up. It says final pick, right?
Yes, for September 11th.
Oh, shoot. Oops. I touched something I wasn't supposed to touch, maybe. Alright, sorry. And this is like on the front? That's in the front, right?
Yes.
What is that? Something hanging?
No, part of the roof. The what's it called?
Oh, that's part of the roof leaning?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and this was taken September 11th?
Mm-hmm. And then our final recheck for this hearing was October 9th. And it's pretty much the same picture with different timestamps on it.
Okay, I see. All right, and notice for today?
Notice for today was posted on September 27th at 12:35 p.m.
Okay. Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer and the evidence presented, I find that the violation still exists. I also find good notice, given proper notice to owners that failed to appear. The, what was the daily fine amount? 500? The daily fine amount of $500 is hereby ratified.
The Leeward condo. case-
Comply.
That concludes all the cases for the 9 o'clock hearing.
All right, thank you guys. I'll see you back here at 1. We're adjourned.